it seems like the signings to WWE in 2026 are going to be just as insane as they were in 2025, because apparently WWE is interested in signing a man who made a name for himself on the other side of the wrestling spectrum for several years now, and his name is Powerhouse Hobbs. Obviously, me personally, I don't know much about Powerhouse Hobbs because, again, I don't keep up with that side of the spectrum. But from what I've been hearing on social media, it appears that Powerhouse Hobbs has become quite the force. Excuse me. Quite the force to be reckoned with. Now, obviously, for those who do not know, Powerhouse Hobbs had been a part of this promotion called AEW for several years now, and apparently he's made a name for himself over there, winning multiple tag team titles over there, as well as a couple of singles titles as well. However, rumors have it that his contract with AEW is being said to expire later at the end of this month, which will be sometime between now and potentially the first couple weeks of February. So the question becomes, where does Powerhouse Hobbs go from here? Well, apparently WWE has high interest in signing Powerhouse Hobbs to WWE and potentially putting him on either Raw or SmackDown, kind of like what they did with Jeff Cobb, aka JC Mateo, one of the most dominant. One of the most dominant stars in New Japan Pro Wrestling history, having have won multiple championships over there in his own right. They even did that with several others as well, including guys like Hikuleo, aka Talatanga, and even also Joe Hendry. Yes, you heard me right. Joe Hendry signed with WWE late last year to cap off what was an incredible 2025 for Joe Hendry, being the first TNA star to bring a TNA championship to WrestleMania. That which has never happened before in wrestling history. Joe Hendry made that history. So, that being said, apparently Powerhouse Hobbs, as I said, excuse me, not only has he made a name for himself on the other side of the wrestling spectrum, but he's also made a name for himself pretty much all throughout the entire wrestling scene, and apparently in the bodybuilding scene. Apparently, I've been hearing that he was once a bodybuilder, which I'm actually going to look him up right now. Let's see. Will Hobbs apparently he was a part of the wrestling scene for quite a long time, almost 2 decades, competing in APW, All Pro Wrestling, which is a professional wrestling school in Hayward, California, which is, I think, it's either up north or it's either up north or on the northeast side of where I reside, where he became APW tag team champion 3 times, teaming with a man by the name of Marcus Lewis, as well as winning the as well as holding the APW Worldwide Internet title 3 times. And then after that, he just went on to win other championships in that promotion before ultimately being a part of the promotion known as AEW, where he worked from literally for at least like 6 years. Literally the 6 years that AEW hosted during the pandemic. You guys all already know. He debuted midway through COVID, and he had won several championships over there. Apparently, including apparently he had won, I believe, the FTW Championship, which was a championship that was created by Taz, ECW legend in, well, ECW, funny enough. And then he just went on to do his own thing with that promotion, and now apparently rumors have it that his contract actually expired. Today is the 19th. Was actually just this past Saturday. Just this past Saturday was when Powerhouse Hobbs' contract expired, and he elected to not re-sign with AEW, which puts WWE in line to bring him to WWE, and ultimately putting him in on either Raw or SmackDown. But the question is, what brand could we see him on? Could we see him on Raw? Could we see him on SmackDown? Or maybe we could see him on NXT. That brings us to another question. What would the picture look like with Powerhouse Hobbs in the conversation of a world title? Let's start with the World Heavyweight Championship, currently being held by CM Punk over on Raw. As of now, obviously later on this afternoon on Raw, CM Punk will be defending the title against Finn Balor in Finn's homeland in Ireland, in Belfast. So it's going to be interesting, to say the very least, but we'll have to wait and see how that works out. But let's say hypothetically speaking, CM Punk retains the title against Finn Balor later this afternoon. Let's just say hypothetically speaking, what would a CM Punk reign look like if Powerhouse Hobbs got signed to Raw and he targeted CM Punk? Well, this would put Powerhouse Hobbs in line to receive multiple opportunities to compete against the top stars on Raw, and eventually put him in a potential number one contenders match for said title, to which the winner would face Punk at a potential date like WrestleMania. It's the same thing on SmackDown, and the same thing with NXT. However, the only difference between all three brands, for one, CM Punk is a fighting champion, and he would have no problems defending the title against Powerhouse Hobbs. As far as NXT goes, as of now, we do not have an NXT champion, and that's because Obafemi relinquished the title several weeks ago on NXT at New Year's Evil after defeating Leon Slater in an incredible main event for said NXT title. So we need a new champion. But as far as Drew McIntyre goes, one could argue that Drew could potentially say that he'll take on all comers, but he could also go out and say, I don't have say that he doesn't have to defend the title. And in a matter of speaking, he's right, but he's also wrong at the same time. And what I mean by that is, if he does defend the title, he doesn't have to pin his opponent or make his opponent submit. All he has to do is just get himself counted out or get himself disqualified to retain the title. But let's say that it is Powerhouse Hobbs versus Drew McIntyre. What happens there? If Drew does get himself counted out or disqualified, yes, the match is over. Powerhouse Hobbs wins, but Drew remains champion. Nick Aldis comes in, demands the match to be restarted under the condition that Drew McIntyre has to win by pinfall submission and cannot win on a countout or a disqualification, which means that if he got himself counted out or disqualified, Powerhouse Hobbs would walk away as WWE champion. This brings us back to the initial first question: which brand should he go to? Raw, SmackDown, or NXT? Well, let's look at the roster for all three brands. Starting with Monday Night Raw, you've got obviously the current champion CM Punk. You've got Dirty Dom, who is the current Intercontinental Champion and the AAA Mega Champion. You have Seth Rollins, who's been out with an injury for the last few months now. You've got Braun Breaker. You've got Austin Theory. You've got Bronson Reed and Logan Paul. You basically have all the members of the Vision minus Seth Rollins. You have El Grande Americano. You've got Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, AJ Styles, Gunther. You've got there is a plethora of talent on Raw that could be potential incredible first opponents for Powerhouse Hobbs. And honestly, it all lies on Braun Breaker and Gunther. I mean, just imagine how crazy those matches would be for Powerhouse Hobbs, right? Like Hobbs versus Breaker, Hobbs versus Gunther. Come on. Even you guys have to admit that would be pretty sick. Those matches would be fire as hell. But let's look at SmackDown. You've got Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, the current WWE champion. You've got Carmelo Hayes, the current United States champion. You've got Sami Zayn, Ilya Dragunov, the Wyatt Six, the MFTs, Solo. You've got Kid Wilson, who apparently has been getting a lot of hype as of late with his new theme song, which is kind of interesting. But we'll see how far that goes. We'll see. Who else is there? You've got The Miz. You've got Joe Hendry. You've got Trick Williams, and then of course you've got NXT. You got guys like Tony D'Angelo, guys like Andre Chase, guys like the Vanity Project. All three members of the Vanity Project, funny enough. Guys like Keanu Carver, Shiloh Hill, Stax. The possibilities for Powerhouse Hobbs is immaculately crazy. But obviously, again, we do not know if WWE will sign Powerhouse Hobbs to WWE. No one knows. But because that WWE has a very high interest in bringing him to the promotion, one could argue that we could see him debut as early as the Royal Rumble which is, I believe it is a week from this Saturday, if I remember correctly. I think it's a week from this Saturday. Yeah. It's a week from this Saturday. Which is gonna be, it's gonna be interesting because when you look at what's happened with the Royal Rumble, the only person that has declared himself for the men's Royal Rumble is obviously Cody Rhodes, wanting to go the three-peat and become the second person to go 3 Royal Rumble wins, which apparently it's all eyes on Cody. And rumor has it that Sami Zayn could potentially put himself in line for that Royal Rumble win, which is possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But if Powerhouse Hobbs does get signed, it's going to be all eyes on the Royal Rumble, and he could have a potential dominant run in that matchup and last a pretty decent amount of time. Kind of like what they did with AJ Styles in 2016, 10 years ago, when he debuted in WWE after 18 years, competing in the 2016 Royal Rumble, which he lasted a little over 38 minutes, if I remember correctly, if I remember right. I think so. I want to take a look at that. I think he did. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm close. I was actually close. I was a little close. 28 minutes, almost 30, literally almost a half hour in the Royal Rumble match in 2016. Think about that. Lasted a half hour in that match when he debuted. Odds are how Powerhouse Hobbs might have that same luxury. Only time will tell. But as far as what brand we could potentially see him on, it's all eyes on Monday Night Raw. Because I think, honestly, him on Raw, he can have such a lengthy reign as World Heavyweight Champion. He could potentially have a lengthy reign as an Intercontinental Champion. There's a lot that he could do on Raw, but I think when you really look at it, he could go to SmackDown, he could go to NXT, but I think he would be better off on Raw, just because of the fact that there's more opportunities for him on Raw than there would be on SmackDown, at least in the eyes of some fans. Me personally, it can go either way. But I think it would probably be Raw on Raw, just because of the fact that he could have some incredible matches against guys like Gunther and Otis and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. He could have some incredible matches against them. Only time will tell. But with that being said, that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.